Okay, so Otto, come on, let's not have the first thing I'm recording is telling you to go to your bed. On your bed. I think he probably associates you with Leon, doesn't he? And that's terribly exciting. Like a little yeah, I'm sorry. Personally, but I'm just thinking that's why he's so enthusiastic for Sarah's son. So Otto obviously a young boy is like just the height of excitement for Otto. Yes. Okay, how are you laying? Good morning. We're starting lying down, everyone. So I think that's probably a good thing on a Monday morning. If you've made it onto your yoga mat, that's very well done. So yeah, settle down onto your backs and let me just take a moment or two to arrive, to take stock of how your body is feeling and just, how you're feeling generally today. So sort of energy levels, if there's anywhere, any particular aches or pains. And just whether you're feeling a bit tired or whether you're feeling a little bit hyper. So all these things we can notice about ourselves, and then perhaps we can hope or maybe bring ourselves a little bit more into balance over the next hour or so. So the first thing you're going to do is just feeling the weight of your head on the floor, and then starting to let your head roll a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. That's it. And just keep this very comfortable. So let the head roll to the right and to the left. So sort of easing from side to side of the head. Just noticing how that feels in the neck. From doing this, find a comfortable place to settle the back of your head on the floor. And then just have a quiet breath or two. Sarah, have you got some water? Would you like? So you have. And Sarah, have you got water? Okay. Right. So just let a breath come in, let a breath leave. And if your legs are long, you're then going to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And you're going to come to tilting your knees to the right and to the left. And see how this feels. And I think particularly notice how it feels around the lower back, because when I was doing this yesterday, I was like, oh no, this feels a little bit of tightness. So it might be that it feels perfectly comfortable. But sometimes as we let the knees tilt from side to side, that just helps us get in touch with perhaps a little bit of tightness in the lower back or around the back of the pelvis. Good. So just a couple more times. So Sarah, I've got the heating on, so if you get boiling at any point, not at the moment, but good. Okay, just once, twice more, and then settle your legs down. We're going to do one of those movements for the upper body. So you can keep your knees bent, but if you're comfortable, you could lengthen your legs out on the floor, because we're not going to be moving below the waist now. So you're going to be bringing your arms up over your chest and making a big circle with your arms and interlinking your fingers. Good. And then you're going to start to rock across. So Sarah, if you take your arms up towards the ceiling rather than over your head, that's it. Make a big circle, so soften your elbows a bit. Good. And then you're going to start rocking side to side across your upper back. So let the weight rock to the back of the right shoulder and to the back of the left shoulder. That's very nice. And let your head come along with your arms. And just notice how this feels in the upper back between the shoulder blades. And, if it feels quite tight there, then just carry on with it. If you'd like to move on to the one where you bring your arms into a triangle, you could do this. So it really depends. So if the circle is feeling like quite a lot for your upper back, then stay with the circle. So I always find the triangles a bit more intense. Yeah, well, that's it. You could just do a little bit of taking your arms into a triangle if you like, before you let this go. And of course, whenever your arms get tired, you're going to do that. You're going to let your arms come to rest down on the ground beside you. And then let a breath come in, let a breath leave. So often when we've moved our arms like this, then there's that opportunity that perhaps we can let them rest a little bit more. And then what I'd like you to do from here is let a breath come in, and as the breath leaves, fold your knees into your chest. And when you arrive with your knees folded into your chest, just maybe hold around them to start with and do a little bit of rocking from side to side. Or a little bit of circling around the back of your pelvis, so whatever feels good right now. And then from here, keep your knees folded into your chest, but bring your elbows down onto the floor, either side of your body. And so your hands are still up, elbows on the floor, either side of your body, and your hands are sort of either side of your thighs. And then what you're going to do is just start to rock your knees from side to side into your hands. That's it. So if you've got your elbows on the floor, that's it, Sarah, good. And then that's it. So then you can rock your knees into one hand and then into the other hand, good. And you can keep this movement small. You can make it a little bit bigger if you like. Good. Just a little bit more sort of side to side rocking of the legs. And in a moment from here, and you may want to hold around your knees for this, in a moment what we're going to do is rock all the way onto one side. And we're going to do a twist on one side. So take the whole of yourself onto one side. You might want a cushion under your head at this point. And apologies, I should have said this before you lay down. So maybe you have a couple of breaths on your side. And if you do want a cushion under the side of your head, Sarah, do you want a cushion under the side of your head? Are you okay? So you want to be able to settle on your side with your knees bent. That's it, knees bent, and maybe, Sarah, let the feet slide forwards a bit on the floor. That's it. And if you have your arms out on the floor in front of you, and we're going to be doing the movement where we take the top arm up towards the ceiling and sort of arc over our shoulder towards the floor behind us, keeping the arm straight, actually, straight but soft. Yes, you might want to shuffle. It's amazing how much space you need in this one. So I'm quite pleased there's only two of you here. We could never do this on Friday if everyone was here. Good. So you're taking the arm up and over towards the floor behind you, and it may not reach the floor. And if in doing this, you start to sort of hit some furniture, you might need to shuffle around. What I'd like you to do is sort of come in and out of this a few times. And remember, let your head go with you. So it might even be that you look at your arm as it goes over. That's it. You can also let your top knee lift if that helps. Yeah. So if it helps to bring your shoulder comfortably towards the floor behind you, then let your top knee come up a bit. And then it's really up to you, because what I would do is go in and out of this a few times and then stay there. Now, if you're going to stay there, you really want to let that arm settle on the ground, which might mean you need to let your knee come up, your top knee come up. And if you've got a cushion, you might want to move the cushion. So you take it out from under your head and put it between your knees. I can give you another cushion, Sarah. Yeah, I think you might actually want to fold that cushion in half, quite thin. It might be better. So it's able to, it's able to settle. Good. Okay. So just, it would be nice to have a couple of breaths with your arm settled on the floor. If you haven't done that already, that's it, Sarah. And just let the breath come in, let the breath leave. So as we breathe in, there's this feeling of being really wide across the front of the chest. As we exhale, there's just sort of this settling of the arms on the ground. And just make sure you're sort of soft and relaxed in your jaw and your face. And that point between the eyebrows. And we'll make our way. So I always, to make your way onto the other side, if you've got both arms on the floor, start to let your top knee come up towards the ceiling. So you can sort of roll onto the back of your pelvis. See if you can do that by letting your top knee come up. And then maybe bring that's it. Maybe bring that top foot onto the floor. That's it. Just see, is there a way you can roll from your side onto the back of your pelvis and then all the way over onto the second side. And when you come onto the second side, just organize yourself on your side first of all. So again, you've got so Sarah, you might want to bring your knees a bit higher up. That's it. So you settle on your side. Just let your arms rest for a moment. Let that top arm relax maybe and soften. Sheila, the knees could possibly come a little bit higher up, I think, from where, what I'm seeing here. Good, good. And then whenever you're ready, exactly the same movement on the other side. Your top arm sort of doing this big sweeping, arcing movement up towards the ceiling and then towards the floor behind you. And just sort of go easy a few times. If you let your head move and let your shoulder move and even let your top knee slide or lift, that's all going to help the movement of the arm. That's it, good. Yeah, so exactly. If it feels difficult in the arm, then use the rest of your body to help ease that movement. Yeah, and Sarah, if you just notice how you, is it feel right around your elbow? Because you could possibly, you've got those slightly hyperextending elbows. So it could be at this point you see that you're, yeah, that's it. Good. Okay, so move in and out of this a few times. And then if it feels comfortable, stay with your arm on the floor behind you. I'm going to give you another cushion. You're going to stay there now because I can give you this one. Just thinking it's completely the wrong yellow though to coordinate with your jumper. Yeah, so again, if you're going to stay with your arm on the floor behind you, you might want to slide a cushion in between your knees. That might, if your shoulder's not quite settling on the ground, that might make it feel a bit more comfortable. Yeah, that's it, Nigel. Just let the top knee come up. And again, just see if you can settle there for a few cycles of breath. As the breath comes in, feeling wide across the front of the chest. As the breath leaves you, just settling, softening, becoming heavy. So when you've had another breath or two, you're going to make your way back onto your back. And when you arrive on your back, just do whatever you like for a moment in terms of, whether you want to fold your knees into your chest or lengthen your legs out on the floor, or that's it, take your legs up to the ceiling. Because we're just going to do a little, I suppose it's a little mini relaxation just for a few minutes lying down before we come over. So when you've done whatever you want to do, you're going to settle yourself down either with your knees bent and your feet standing on the floor or with your legs long. And we're going to be using a mudra, a hand position. This sort of gives us a point of focus. So when you've settled your legs down, you're then going to, in each hand, you're going to touch your thumb and index finger. So it's that very classic mudra, Jnana mudra, or chin mudra, depending which way up you have the hands. So you're touching your thumb and index finger together. You could have your arms and hands on the floor, or you could have your hands on your belly, just touching the index fingers. Oh, in each individual hand, Sarah. Well, that's the one, yes. And just let the hands be relaxed. So that's it, good. Good. So just feeling that contact of the thumb and the index finger. And that sort of point of contact stays steady. And then we're trying to let everything else dissolve around that point of contact. So we're imagining that the fingers dissolve, the hands dissolve. So this sense that we're merging with the ground or the air or the rest of the world around us. So the outlines of our body become indistinct. But we've still got that steady point of contact between the thumb and the index finger. So just in your own time, having a few more cycles of breath where you're imagining that your body is dissolving, the outline of your body is becoming indistinct. You're merging into the air, you're merging into the ground. But you've still got this steady point of contact between the thumb and the index finger. And then just start to see if you can become aware or sort of reassemble your body, become aware of your fingers and your toes. It might be helpful to wiggle your fingers and your toes just to sort of feel, to feel that sort of shape of yourself. So imagining the shape of your body, the face, the shoulders, the arms, the torso, the legs. And still feeling that contact of thumb and index finger. And it might even be helpful before we come off the ground to even just a little bit of sort of slapping your hands onto your arms or the sides of your body, a little bit onto your legs. Just coming back to this sense of sensing the outline of ourselves. Good. So in your own time, you're going to be making your way over onto hands and knees. So we're going to be doing a few hands and knees things. So Sarah and anyone else, if wrists are a bit of an issue, always just go onto your elbows whenever you need to. So yes, so you could take your socks off, Sheila, that would be quite a good idea. So we're coming over onto hands and knees. Just let yourself settle on hands and knees. So as I said, we're going to be doing a few hands and knees things. We will be doing some things to ease out the wrists, but do at any point come down onto your elbows and your forearms. So the first thing you're going to do is some cat movements and just see how it feels to start to find that movement through the center of yourself. So rounding your back to the ceiling, dipping your spine down to the floor. I just realized I should bring that candle in a bit more light today. That's very nice. I think we need all the light we can get in the year. Very nice. So rounding and dipping in cat pose. And whenever you've had enough cat, you're going to round your back to the ceiling, or whenever you want to take the weight off your arms and wrists, round your back to the ceiling and rock your hips back over into child pose. And just have a couple of breaths in child. And giving yourself, enough time in child to just let yourself settle, to feel the movement of your breath in your body. And then from child, we'll come back over onto hands and knees, and we're going to do a little bit of our tail wagging on hands and knees. So when you come onto hands and knees, you could just start doing, your basic tail wagging. So imagining you've got a tail and wagging your tail from side to side. You could then start to do some of the variations where you move your lower legs. So you could move both lower legs to one side slowly and look towards them, and then go the other way. So looking towards your feet and lower legs move to one side, you look towards them. And then like you were doing, Sarah, you can do that much more quickly, sort of swinging the lower legs from side to side, but then possibly not looking at them. Otherwise, you might start to feel a little bit ill. So the little fish is one. And then the other one that and it's just a variation really, the one that I've been doing quite a lot over the weekend is doing a rounded up cat. And then a bit of tail wagging, or even again the little fishes, swinging the legs from side to side. So rounding your back and then wagging your tail at the same time and just seeing how that feels, because that can feel really nice for the lower back. And then whenever you like, just rounding your back, coming back into child pose again, just a couple of breaths in this second child pose, really just the opportunity to take the weight off the hands and the wrists. So let the breath come in, let the breath leave. So you can have a few more breaths in child pose if you like. What we're going to be doing from here is coming into dog pose, seeing how our dog pose feels, coming down, doing something for our wrists, and then doing another dog pose variation. So when you feel ready for dog, coming onto hands and knees, tucking your toes under, exhaling, rocking your hips up and back into dog pose, and just, how does dog pose feel? So possibly on Monday morning, we'll feel lots of sort of dusty corners in dog pose. So it may be that you want to sort of come in and out and do a couple of short dog poses, depending how it feels. If it feels okay, you can stay there for a little bit longer. And so, yes, any elbow dog variations. I have got the obviously you've got the wedges here if you want to borrow one. Okie doke. That's nice. Good. If we come down from dog pose, I just wanted us to do a little stretch through our wrists. So what you're going to do on hands and knees is, on one hand, come onto the back of your hand. And it's easier if your hand is closer towards your knees. So the further forwards you bring your hand, the more challenging that's going to be. So, you could start with your hand quite close to your knees and then possibly slide it forwards a little bit more. You're not really taking much weight onto that hand, yeah? Your weight is staying on the other arm. And then do the same thing on the other side. So keep your weight on the hand that is, normal way up, and then come onto the back of your hand and just sort of see, just see you sort of stretching through the back of your wrist, but not taking a huge amount of weight there. Good. And we're going to come back into dog pose. And this time in dog pose, if you like, you could come into your one-legged dog pose, which you might be thinking, oh, I don't know, that feels a little bit early for that. But actually, it's a really nice way to wake, well, I always find, to wake yourself up, to wake your body up. So so come into your dog pose, see how it feels, and then perhaps doing your one-legged dog pose on each side. And if you're doing your one-legged dog pose on each side, just see what's it like if you let your pelvis sort of turn a bit to the side. So you're opening the front of your body to the side. You don't have to do that, but you could do. And if your back foot encounters a wall or some sort of surface, that can be very helpful. So make use of it. Good. If you do a one-leg dog pose on each side, you then might just want sort of a couple of quiet breaths in dog with both feet on the ground. You might not want to do a one-leg dog pose at all. Good. Very nice. Letting your head go, particularly important in your one-leg dog pose. Good. And when you come back down, come into, rather than child pose, come into kneeling, either sitting down kneeling or up kneeling. So whichever is more comfortable, you can sit down over your heels or you can be up and kneeling. And you're going to be just swinging your arms a bit. So you can do this. In fact, sometimes being upright in kneeling, you can swing your arms a bit better. you can try a bit of both. Perhaps when you're down here, the fingers might, depend on length of arms, doesn't it? Fingers might graze the ground a bit. Okay. And so Sarah, we're going to be doing some of those fox type poses. So again, you could be on your elbow for these, or anyone else could be. Okay, so we're going to come on to hands and knees. So we're going to be moving on into some of our fox poses, which is when we take one arm, well, hands and knees, but we take one arm and one leg up. And we're going to do a couple of different variations. It might be helpful, again, if you wanted to just briefly revisit that coming onto the back of each hand, yeah, that we did a moment ago, because we're going to be doing a few things on our hands. And as I was saying to Sarah, if your wrists are unhappy at any point, drop down onto your elbows. So first of all, we're going to do our fox pose, where we take our opposite arm and leg forwards and back. So we're in hands and knees. We're in a sort of fairly neutral position with the spine. And then you're going to reach, so opposite pair of arm and leg. And this one is always so much more challenging than I think it will be. So we're trying to feel ourselves long. We're trying to breathe. It is a bit of a balance. So we're trying to be steady and just, yeah, breathing ourselves long from our back heel through to our fingers. And when you're ready, you could come onto the second side. I can't stay in that one particularly long. So come onto the second side. See if you can steady yourself on the second side. You're looking down at the floor, somewhere sort of level with your fingertips that are on the floor. And you can play around a little bit with pointing your back heel and pointing the back toe. And it's heel, sorry, and toes. Good. Good, yeah. So whenever you've had enough, exactly, come back into your down or up kneeling and just give your hands a bit of a shake out. And then bring the backs of the hands together. So this one, where we bring the backs of the hands together, we give the hands a bit of a wiggle. So we're going to revisit that fox pose, but we're going to do it slightly differently this time. And you could watch for a moment. We haven't done this one for ages, but some of you might remember it from my house. We're going to be keeping the same arm and leg on the floor. So I tend to then start with rolling my knee up. Oops. You can see it can be a bit wobbly. And then the arm coming up and then maybe lengthening the leg. So we're opening the front of the body to the side. It's a bit like doing half moon pose, but in kneeling, okay? And yeah, I always have to start with taking the leg up, sort of, and with the knee bent and out to the side. So we're just seeing from hands and knees, how is it to bring our weight onto the same hand and knee? And yeah, my starting point is the knee out to the side and the knee being bent. And then it's like, oh, can I take my top arm up? Can I balance there? Yes. Can I lengthen? Oops, lengthen the leg out. Good, good. So yeah, yeah, interestingly, good. Just sort of see how you get on one side. And if you don't feel steady about taking the arm up, that's perfectly fine. Well done, Nigel. That's amazing. Well done. That's it. Good. Good. Very nice. And then, yes, you can move on to the other side. So that would be settling yourself down. And again, I'm just thinking, if you're on a wooden floor, my knees possibly needed a bit more padding in this. So the knee comes out to the side and we're sort of rolling the pelvis so it's facing forwards. And then at that point, come up towards the ceiling. Good. And then maybe you could lengthen the back leg behind you, the raised leg. But, you know, just, yeah. And then do come down again. Have a little shake out of hands. Okay, yeah. See here. And then we're going to come up into standing. And we're going to do some things in standing. And then we've got one more variation of this we'll do later on. So when you're ready, yes, maybe actually I was going to say bring the backs of the hands together again. A little wiggle. And then we'll come through dog pose and a forward bend up into standing. I don't know how we do temperature wise here. Let's see, maybe when we're up, That might be the point at which we'll feel hot. So hands and knees, tucking your toes under, exhaling, rocking your hips up and back into dog pose. And just, yeah, after that sort of rather wobbly little balance, just maybe enjoy being in dog pose for a few breaths. Yes, Sarah, forward bend is good for you. So enjoy a few breaths in dog pose, letting your head go, enjoying feeling steady and stable. And from dog pose, whenever you're ready, you're going to be walking your hands in towards your feet, coming into a forward bend. And from your forward bend, you're going to be rolling up into standing. Let me know how you feel temperature-wise. Is it hot? A little bit, okay. Let's see, how are you, Sarah? I might just put the heating off for a little bit and then put it back on, because I always find it as soon as you stand up, it's a little bit hotter. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do in standing, let me just turn off my page. Yes, the first thing we're going to do in standing is just, yeah, sort of swinging our arms, moving our pelvis. So our usual nice, easy swinging twist. Good. And you could come back to letting your arms slap on your body. I say back to because we did this when we were lying down, that just bit of sort of slapping our hands onto ourselves. Using socks on the radiator. Good. Very nice. Yes, damp socks is not nice, is it? I went out the other day and had socks. I could, why do my feet feel horrible? You know, just to work out what it was. Okay, a few more times, swinging your arms, maybe letting them slap onto your body. Good. Okay, let's let that go. Let's settle the feet down. So looking at our feet, having the feet a little distance apart. And maybe just starting with a little bit of swaying from side to side. And if you like, you could close your eyes. So just feeling the weight shift from side to side, across the soles of your feet. You can let your body sway. Obviously, keep your feet on the ground at this point. Good. And then you could change that and you could just let yourself rock your weight forwards and back a little bit along the lengths of your feet. So this, you know, not a huge movement, otherwise you're going to feel that you fall over. And perhaps opening your eyes for this, because what we're going to start to do is start to rock the weight on the balls of the feet and let the heels come up. So just do this a few times, rocking your weight forward towards the balls of your feet, letting your heels come off the ground. And then eventually, if you can come up onto the balls of your feet, feel reasonably steady, you're then going to float your arms up, out to the sides and up. Very nice. And just let the shoulders drop and soften. That's nice. Just have a few breaths here to the best of your ability, but balancing on the balls of your feet. Good. Very nice. And then from here, when you're ready to come down, as you let your heels come down, you can sweep your arms around and fold forwards into a forward bend. So if you'd like to take your elbows onto your thighs, you could do, or you can sweep all the way forward and just let your arms release to the floor, let your head go, let your spine tumble forwards. Let the breath come in, let the breath leave. Good, yes, and whenever you're ready, you can sink down into your heels and roll up into standing. And perhaps at that point, just give each leg a little shake out. And we're going to come back to something we did last Monday, which was maybe, and it's quite important today, if you bring your hands onto your pelvis. So we're going to bring one foot forwards on the floor, and we're going to start to tap the front of that foot on the floor. And then what I particularly like you to focus on today is then start to turn your foot out and in as you tap, but not let your pelvis move. So your leg is moving in the hip joint, that's it. So as you tap your foot out to the side, the leg moves, but the pelvis doesn't. Good. Okay, this can get a bit achy in the front of the foot. So let's swap sides. So come back to, it's always just like sort of toe down feeling. So tapping the foot and then starting to turn the foot out to the side and also in towards the center, but not letting the pelvis move, as you know, as much as possible. We're just trying to feel how the leg can move in the hip joint. Okay. And then just give each leg a little shake out and your arms. And then you can do slightly different movements. So if you come back to your first foot and come onto the ball of your foot. And again, if you're with your hands on your pelvis, just do this sort of on the ball of your foot, swiveling. So the knee comes in, the knee comes out. Okay, so far, so good. Good. What about then drawing a circle with your knee? Yeah? Yeah, can you draw a circle with that knee? So it means you're circling around. Good, you're circling around on the ball of your foot. Very nice. Could you reverse your circle and go the other way? That's it. Brilliant. Okay, let's try the same thing on the other side. So bring your weight onto that foot that we were just circling. And then first of all, yeah, you're on the ball of the other foot, just knee turning in and out. So pelvis not moving. Can we let the knee turn in and out? So swiveling on the ball of the foot. Good. And then we're starting to draw a circle with our knee. So the knee sort of goes down, over towards the other knee, up, out to the side. Yeah, that's it. And then can we reverse that circle? Very nice. Brilliant. So we're going to take this on into tree pose, which is the same. You can give your legs a little shake out. It's the same sorts of movements. We're trying to keep the pelvis facing forward and find this movement in our hip joints as we bring our foot onto our standing leg. So maybe just take a moment to decide which leg you'd like to stand on in tree. So if you need to shake your arms out, just settle down, maybe sway a little bit from side to side. So you're going to choose which leg you'd like to stand on. You're also going to choose, that's number one, which leg are you going to stand on? Then how are you going to bring your foot in tree pose? So you could bring your foot onto your ankle. You could bring your foot a bit higher up your leg. So some, foot could be on your shin, your calf. Your knee could just be over your heel. There's a little indentation there. Or you could catch your foot and bring your foot right up your thigh. That's it. And then bring the hands into prayer pose. So hopefully you've chosen a tree that feels reasonably sort of familiar and settled and calm. You can have a few breaths here. And then if you like, you can also let your arms grow up and out like the branches of the tree. And as you do so, let your shoulders drop. Let your face and your jaw soften. And see if you can feel the movement of your breath somewhere in your body. Good. You might like to gather your hands back into prayer pose. Might have another breath or two there. And then yes, whenever you're ready, very good, come down. Have a little shake out of arms and legs. And then we'll see, tighten up a bit, isn't it? Which is nice. And then we'll see how it feels to do side two. So start off with maybe perhaps looking at your feet, settling your feet on the floor, starting to shift your weight into the other leg, leg number two. Come up onto the ball of the foot you just stood on. And then, yeah, knee comes out to the side, pelvis stays facing forward. Where are we going to put our leg? On the inside of our standing leg. Good. Can we then gather our hands into prayer pose? Just perhaps find a moment or two of quietness, of steadiness, feeling the breath. Lovely. from here, whenever you like, you can let your arms grow up. You can become more tree-like. Let the shoulders stay down. Let the elbows stay soft. See if you can feel soft into the centers of your palms, alive into your fingers. And again, maybe feeling the flow of the breath somewhere in your body. We could gather our hands back into prayer pose. Very nice. And then, yes, you come down. Amazing tree poses, everyone. Really fantastic. Come down. A little shake out of the arms and legs. We're going to come into another forward bend, but this time with your feet as wide as the narrow edge of your mat. So you can just take your feet as wide as that narrow edge of your mat. So sort of wider feet apart, forward bend. You might like to go forwards and rest your elbows on your thighs, bending your knees a bit, or you might like to release your arms to the ground. And if you like, sort of doing a little bit of, bending one knee, bending the other knee, shifting your weight a little bit from side to side, that can be quite nice in this forward bend. Letting the head go. Just noticing how this feels through the legs, the backs of the legs, the insides of the thighs. Good. Can you really sink into your heels and let your toes be long and relaxed? Good. And have another 2 or 3 breaths there if that feels okay. When you roll back up into standing, sink into your heels and keep your feet this wide apart when you arrive back up and standing. That's it. And then we're going to come on into our side lengthening movements, our side stretches. So one arm reaches up and over, and the arm that stays down could swing if you like, just to sort of keep everything a bit easier. So I tend to swing that arm from side to side, but you can swing it however you like. And then swap sides. We'll do each side a couple of times. So you're reaching up and over with that sort of top arm. That's it. They should think up as well as over. There's a balance between up and over. You want to be trying to do both things. Come on to the first side again. Bottom arm can just, there's the bottom arm swinging is just so that it stays relaxed and easy. And maybe stops us tensing up. Okay. So second side, second time. Good. Swinging the bottom arm if you like. Lovely. And then come out, have a little shake out. We're going to take our feet a little bit wider apart. And I was just, before we do it, I was just going to show you this. You're going to take your feet wider. There's a couple of things what you can do in this forward bend. So you're going to face the long edge of your mat. The 2 things I'll show you very quickly you could do is walking your hands from side to side, or in the center, doing a bit of a twist. So you keep one hand in the center. So there's twisting here. I won't go that way, I'll use my AirPod. There's twisting in the center, or there's walking the hands to each foot, which is side bending. So you don't have to do either. You could just do a forward bend. So feet a bit wider, facing the long edge of your mat. Make sure your feet are parallel. You're sinking into your heels, and perhaps, just to let yourself arrive in the forward bend to start with. And yeah, really rooted into your heels. How does it feel? What do you want to do when you're there? So one thing would be that sort of shifting your weight from side to side by bending one knee and bending the other. And I would probably either do that. I would probably maybe start with that. And then if you wanted to do the side bends or twists, and the side bends and twists, you're trying not to bend your knees or move around in the legs. You're trying to stay steady below the waist. That's it. So if you've done a little bit of shifting your weight, bending one knee, bending the other, you could then try and do the same thing with both legs. So both knees could be a bit bent, or both legs could be straight. And then you could try walking your hands over towards one foot. They don't have to get there. And towards the other. And you could also try doing that twist where your hands stay in the center. Very nice, beautiful. That's it. And one arm comes up towards the ceiling. Obviously, just check that your shoulder feels happy if you're doing that. The top shoulder, very nice. Very nice. Good. You might also just, that's it. We might also like to have a few quiet breaths just in the forward bend. That's nice, Sarah. And obviously there'll be a point at which, yeah, lovely, point at which you want to come up as well, and you've had enough in your wide forward bend. You can sink into your heels to come out, and then obviously sort of walk your feet back in rather than leaping out. Good. Give the legs a shake out. So we're going to come to just stand on our mat. So we're facing the short edge of the mat, but we've got the length of the mat in front of us. And you just look down at your feet, see that those feet are pointing forward. And from here, we're going to step 1 foot forward and just do a little bit of letting our weight rock forwards and back. So we come onto the ball of the back foot, the heel of the front foot. And at this point again, perhaps looking at the feet, are the feet still pointing forward? And in a moment, we're going to settle the feet down. So at this point, I'd like you to just see if you can have both feet pointing forward. And maybe like we did when we were doing the foot tapping, bring your hands onto your pelvis, because we're going to swing our arms and not let the pelvis, try not to let the pelvis move. So the slightly funny feeling where we're moving from the waist up. Arms, shoulders, our head can move, but our pelvis and legs are not moving. Good. And then we've done this, we did this on a Monday, I think 2 weeks ago. We're going to then start to just turn from the center towards the back leg, but we're going to let the pelvis move. So if you let your pelvis move towards your back leg, you might want to let your back foot turn out. Okay. Yes. And we're going to stay turned to the side. So our pelvis is facing the sort of long edge of our mat. We might have turned our back foot out. And sometimes at this point, I then step my front foot, I step a little bit further forward. So Sarah, you probably want to step your front foot a bit further forward. Even more so, because we're going to then bring our arms out to shoulder height. And so some of you, so Sheila, even, yes, I'm bending the front knee. So some of us, you know, Sheila, we're doing this probably quite a lot because we did it on Friday. We're going to be from here, seeing how it feels to come into our half moon balance. So Sarah, what you want to do is have your arms sort of following the length of, in line with this front leg. So they're following the line, that's the line of the mat. Because what we're going to be doing from here is shifting the weight into the front foot and then letting ourselves tilt forward into our half moon pose. And we may, you know, maybe if we expect to be quite wobbly, then that will be okay. We'll just try it a couple of times. But yes, and go to the wall, Elaine. That's a very good idea if you do feel wobbly. And we'll try a couple of times. You can come back up, come back to this foot position. So we've, you know, most important thing is our pelvis is facing the long edge of our mat. The front foot is facing the way we want to go, arms at shoulder height. And we start to bring our weight onto our front foot. Can we keep wide across the front of the chest? And can we start to tip forwards? We're trying to control this movement. Maybe the middle finger comes onto the ground. Sort of depends a little bit on our proportions. Good. That's nice. Very nice. If you can bring that hand a bit more under your shoulders there. So yeah, that's it. A bit more in front of your foot. I know that'll make you feel more wobbly. Well done. Well done. Good. Very nice. Wonderful. They're very good idea, Elaine, using the wall there. Let's have a little shake out and let's try the other side. So just remember in this one, if you can come and stand with the wall behind you, or you just, you know, you just think that it's fine. You're going to wobble and that's fine. So step the other foot forward. Yes, it's probably much more helpful, Sarah, to be looking now towards the window. So come back to that rocking your weight forwards and back and just think this is, you know, we're settling we're feeling steady and grounded. So again, we're going to do that swing in our arms. So if we settle our feet down with our feet pointing forwards, pelvis pointing forwards, and then just a bit of swinging your arms, not moving your pelvis. That's it, good. So again, we've got this sort of funny feeling where below the waist, everything is very steady, like a mountain, and above the waist, everything's moving, and it's not time for you. Okay, and then let's start to turn towards the back leg and let our pelvis move. So I just find as soon as I turn towards my back leg and let my pelvis move, my back foot wants to turn out. So you don't have to turn your foot out, but it's about what's comfortable for the knee. So if the pelvis is turning that way, it probably makes sense for the knee to turn the foot out. And then we can just see, do we want to have our front foot stepped forwards at all? We may not. We bend the front knee. So the front foot's pointed in the direction, is towards the end of our mat, and our arms are in the same line, and we're really wide across the front of the chest. So as we start to tip forwards, we're trying to keep this same sort of expansive feeling across the front of ourselves. And it's quite helpful this one just to see the back foot comes off the floor. Can we be steady for a moment? We don't have to go very far. What happens if we go further? We might completely wobble. We might be able to bring our fingertips onto, and it's fine to bring your fingertips onto a surface like a chair or a sofa, because for some of us it's not so easy to reach the floor. Yes, with your very long legs, Sarah, it's much better. Yes. So let's just try one more time with this one. So if you want to move around in your room so that your bottom hand or arm is going onto a sofa or a chair or a bed rather than to the floor, you could try that. So we've got this starting position, this back foot is turned out a bit, our front knee is bent, our front foot's pointing towards the end of our mat, our arms are really wide at shoulder height. And then how does it feel as we start to sort of push off with our back foot, our back toes, bring our weight onto our standing leg. And that standing knee starts to straighten but not lock. And then we're just trying to tip forward. Good. Good. And it can be helpful if we are able to bring our fingertips onto yes, it could be onto that chest of drawers, Elaine. Or no, you're going lower. Good. Very nice. Good. Well done. So yes, it's always that point we're sort of trying to control that descent, and sometimes it just happens, doesn't it, a bit more quickly than we're expecting. Well done. Yeah, but wonderful, Elaine. I think you've got a block there. Yeah, that block's perfect there. And just let that top arm come up a little bit more. That's it. Just a bit more. Over the bottom arm. Lovely. Okay, let's come down through a forward bend and dog pose and into child pose. So from the back of your mat, if you feel that you want to drop down into a squat from your forward bend, you could do. And so, Sarah, that would probably be better for you anyway. So forward bend, if you feel that a squat would be nice for your lower back, you could go down into a squat and then back up into your forward bend and then on through dog. And so forward bend, walking your hands on into dog. Just sort of see if any of these places, if you go through any of these places, forward bend, dog pose, squat, and they feel nice, stay there. But if you're sort of keen to get into child pose, then you obviously make your way on into child pose. And settle down in child. Good. Very nice. Lovely. So just give yourself a little bit of time to settle, to breathe, to rest in child. If for any reason child pose isn't feeling comfortable today, and you'll be happier in kneeling or lying on your belly. You can do either of those. We're just going to do a couple more things on hands and knees, and then you will be lying down. You can have a few more breaths in child pose. And when you're ready to move on from child, we're going to be coming into lunge. So we've done quite a lot of forward bends. So I thought if we come into lunge, well, two things. It's going to open us out a bit in the front of our body, but it's also going to prepare us for this one last fox variation we're going to do. So from hands and knees, if you bring one foot forward between your hands, and then you can tuck your back toe under and walk your back leg away a little bit. And you just come into sort of, I say, an easy lunge. It's probably never that easy. Just into sort of a simple lunge where we can settle, we can breathe, we can feel we're giving the weight of the pelvis to the ground. We're feeling a bit of a stretch through the front of the back leg thigh. Whenever you've had enough on this side of lunge, you can ease out. You can ease back by untucking your back foot, and then this rocking movement where we rock back, we look back towards our back foot, our chest is close to our thighs. And then you can swap legs. So bring the other foot forwards between your hands. That's it. You'll put the other foot forward, and then maybe you tuck your toe under in your back foot, and you sort of step, walk your back foot back. You try to take the back knee back a little bit, but obviously your front heel stays over your front heel stays under your front knee. We can have a few breaths here. So just feeling that, looking for that feeling of stretching, of opening through the front of the hip joint, through the front of the back leg thigh, for another breath or two. And I always feel in lunge that I probably, rock a little bit or move a little bit. Don't feel you've got to stay still. Yes, and then you can untuck your back foot and you can ease back out of lunge. And so this spinal tap variation we've done is one you may have done, but not for quite a long time. So in this one, with opposite arm and foot, you can reach them forwards, and then what you're trying to do is reach back and touch your hand to your foot. So it's just seeing, is that possible? So reaching the arm and leg forwards and back, and then can you touch your hand to your foot? And if you can catch your foot, you could sort of hold on to it and pull the foot back away from you. But yes. Interesting, Nigel. I think you're reaching your arm in a more difficult way. Reach your arm sort of down and back. Yeah, you're trying to reach your arm up over your head, which is very impressive, but you're making it harder than you need to. So you reach the arm down by the side of your body. Okay. When you've done that for once, that's it, good. You're just seeing if you can even touch anywhere on your foot or your lower leg. Do swap sides. Opposite arm and leg. So first of all, I tend to take I'm getting confused with my arms and legs. Take the arm and leg forwards and back. So come into your normal fox, and then it's can you touch your foot? And don't worry if you can't touch your foot. These things they're complicated for the body as well as the brain. So it's probably a very mean thing to give you. Well done. It's like a sort of twister. A very mean thing to give you right at the end of the class. You might like to, when you've had enough of that, which you probably definitely had enough of that, you might want to just do a rounded up cat and a bit of a tail wag to lengthen out the lower back. And then you are going to lie down. We're going to do, you wanting to do that now? Yes, I could see actually, it was much harder. Yeah. Well, I was finding one side, my brain was just not even working to that which arm and leg it was. So if you lie onto your back and just do whatever you want for a moment, and then we're going to do a couple of twisty things. We're going to come back to the little mudra sort of meditation focus we did earlier. Make sure you're going to be warm enough. Yeah, socks is a good idea. Jumpers. So yeah, settle down onto your backs and just a little moment of doing whatever you like, and then I'll talk you into a couple of little twisty things. I'll turn that light up there. So the first, yes, exactly, Sheila. So the first thing I was going to suggest you all did was to bend your knees and stand your feet on the floor. And start to let your knees tilt to the right and to the left. That's very nice, good. Just, yes, that's it. Just a really nice sort of easy, lazy, relaxing movement. Letting the knees tilt to the right and to the left. And then if you pause in the center, you can cross your arms over your chest. So Sarah, this one where you've got one arm, this one here. That's it. Good. And now start to let your elbows and your head and your knees all rock to the right, rock to the left. So rather than rolling on top of your hands, sort of slide your fingertips out on the floor away from your body. That's it. Good. So now you're doing this sort of rocking from side to side across the back of your body. Aditi, with your arms crossed over your chest. That's the one, yeah, good. So you can, very nice. You can just do this sort of little bit of a sort of massaging movement for yourself. So do that a few more times. And when you've had enough, then uncrossing your arms, settling down. We're going to settle down. These of you like a blanket at this point. Yeah, would you like this one here? Super warm one. Sarah, a blanket or okay. So we're going to settle down and we're going to bring our hands back into that mudra. So in each hand, you're touching the thumb to the index finger. And you can either rest your hands on your belly or you can rest your arms down by the side. And once we've touched the thumb and index finger together, you can perhaps start with just letting our attention settle with that point of contact. And just how does that point of contact feel? Does it stay the same or does it change? And from our attention on that point of contact of thumb and index finger, can we then just imagine that our fingers are dissolving, our hands are dissolving. So just this sense that the outline of our body is becoming more misty, more indistinct. And that feeling travels up through the arms to the shoulders, down through the body, down through the legs. We have this steady point of contact between the thumb and the index finger, but we just imagine that the rest of our body is dissolving into the air, into the ground. becoming, trying to find a little quote for you. Yes, so you have this sense of dissolving as if into a vast sea of tranquility. And you feel no separation from the space surrounding you. And from this sense of merging into the space around you, perhaps a little bit of wiggling toes, fingers, maybe a little bit of rolling your head on the floor, just starting maybe a little bit of, little movements just to help you come back to feeling the boundaries of your body. Maybe you can feel the air on your skin. You can carry on lying. I'm going to ring the singing bowl 3 times. So, yeah, and then you can start to move. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a good week. There isn't a class next week because it's half term, so I'll send out information about. Gosh, I can't believe we're in the last half term of the year nearly. So I'll send out information about the dates up until Christmas. So, okay. Bye. Lots of love. Bye. Bye.